Do you get the feeling like you did everything you were supposed to do, right? You earned the degree, you built the profession, you worked hard, but still, like, money felt so hard. I know because I felt that way for sure. In 2020, I had been practicing law for over 16 years. I always wanted to be a lawyer, right? I went to school, went to college, went to law school, passed the bar, and had been practicing and practicing and practicing, right? Working hard, hoping that it would get easier and I would make more money. But instead, it's like I felt so burned out, right? And so stressed. Work wasn't fun anymore. It wasn't interesting. And I just knew that needed to be making more money. I wasn't even clearing six figures at that time, right? I was a lawyer and I had been a lawyer for a long time. I kept believing that if I just kept going and kept doing everything right, that eventually money would start turning around, but it just never did. There was another solution instead. That year, I stumbled across a little book called The Four Spiritual Laws of Prosperity by Edwin Gaines. I was pretty skeptical. I didn't expect much. Basically, it was saying that if you follow these spiritual principles that don't really seem to have anything to do with money on the surface, but if you follow these spiritual principles, you will make more money. You'll become more prosperous, right? Like I said, okay, I can follow directions. I'll give it a try. So that March 2020, I began implementing the four spiritual laws of prosperity to the very best of my ability. Basically, what the book said was it's not about working harder. It's about implementing spiritual laws and practices like forgiveness, goal setting, following your divine purpose, and giving back. Tithing, generosity. So I would get out my journal every morning and I would write my forgiveness prayers. God, please help me forgive whoever was bugging me that week. I set goals and started asking for guidance on how to achieve them. I started tithing 10% to where I got my spiritual food. And as far as divine purpose goes, I always thought that being a lawyer was my divine purpose, right? I'd always wanted to do it to help others, but I wasn't in the attitude of helping others anymore. I was in the attitude of frustration. So I started asking for help to be kinder and gentler with my clients, right? And to remember that to be grateful for the opportunity to help them during their rough period. None of these habits on their own are big or dramatic, right? They just took a few minutes a day, right? Probably 15. But day by day, week by week, month by month, something started to shift inside me. Work started feeling easier. It wasn't easier, but it felt easier. I felt less frustration and resentment towards difficult clients or difficult lawyers or judges, right? I started accepting that, the things that I could control and the things that I couldn't control. I started being grateful for the opportunity to serve, right? And believe it or not, the money was coming in easier, right? It was all about my mindset shift. Whenever someone's sitting across the desk from me and I'm feeling frustrated and agitated, am I the person they want to trust their case to? No. They want somebody who's cool and calm and can bring that energy into their lives, even when they can't do that themselves, right? This dog. So what happened? I paid off over $100,000 in debt. I had a bunch of IRS debt and a bunch of student loan debt, right? And it took me about 4 years, but it was about 5 years to pay that all off. But it was steady coming down, right? Steady coming down. And my income tripled in 4 years. My annual income tripled. And now, it's about 6 years later, I'm actually starting to build a nest egg, right? I've got money for retirement or to start generating more income, right, with that money. And it all, like I said, it wasn't because of anything big or huge that I did. I started following the advice in the book, saying that there are spiritual laws that govern money. So you see, the biggest transformation wasn't necessarily financial. It was in my identity. I was becoming someone who approached money with purpose instead of pressure, gratitude instead of frustration, generosity instead of fear, and trust instead of scarcity. So see, I changed my attitude. I changed my heart, right? I started living in purpose. I started trusting God. I started changing the way I felt and behaved in life in general, right? Not just about money. And everything started shifting for me. Does that make sense? So now part of 4 spiritual laws is purpose. And I believe my purpose is to share this with others. And that's why I created the spiritual finance routine and started making these videos in my community and all the other things that I'm using to try to teach others about this. This isn't something that's like magic. It's not complicated. It's just something to change the way you live your life, which naturally results in more blessings coming to you. So forgiveness is a great place to start. And down in the description, I have my 14-day Forgive and Receive Forgiveness Challenge free PDF. Check it out below, download it. And if you like my content and you want to learn more about the spiritual finance routine and how changing your mindset, changing the way that you interact with God can help you financially, be sure to subscribe. Thanks so much for watching.